Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Merrick Palmer. I'm the host of the Helpside Basketball Show. Today we have a special guest with us, right from Ottawa, Ahmed Murks. What's up, man?
What's up, baby?
Chilling.
Thanks for having me on the pod.
Oh, no doubt. So first off, how did you get involved in basketball, and was there anyone in particular that introduced you to the sport?
I mean, I grew up to Ottawa. I moved from Montreal to Ottawa in the early 2000s.
Yep.
And when we first moved into the neighborhood, the catchment I grew up in was Britannia Woods, right?
Yep.
And grew up around the Boys and Girls Club and Shaw Heights Community Center, and got to play a lot of basketball with a lot of local guys. But I knew it was getting serious when I got involved with our summer league team.
Okay.
And our summer league team had some really, really good basketball players. Ali Sows, the Amir Al-Badris, the Emmanuel Balumbas, and it all started with two guys specifically, you know, Mohamed Sofa and Emil O'Neill, Coach O.
Let's go.
So Coach O grew up around Toronto, moved to Ottawa because he got a really good job working at a school as a support worker for kids that live in high-risk catchment areas.
Yes.
And I brought up this basketball family setup and coaching and doing player development and all that stuff, and that's when I really fell in love with the game. You know, I mean, I'm not 6'5", I'm not 225 pounds lean, but he saw something in me that not a lot of coaches saw in me, and ran with it from there.
Right. And so, like, Coach O, Mohamed Sofa, those are kind of like the people who just kind of pulled you in.
Exactly.
Were you kicking and screaming, or you just like, let's go?
No, I mean, I've always been passionate about the game, you know. I didn't have the best jump shot, but I knew I had a lot of heart on defense, right? So my first ever game that Coach O put me in, he's like, listen, I just need you to do one thing and just play with effort, you know? So put me on the court. I took 9 charges that game.
Yeah, let's go.
And that's when our relationship really kicked off, you know? And yeah.
So when I first met you, you're on the sidelines in the youth sport at University of Ottawa, and you were listed as the talent acquisition / assistant coach. So talent acquisition, I think, is just a fancy word for scout. What did that entail? Like, what kind of duties did you have in terms of acquiring talent for the school?
I mean, it goes back to like the person that I got connected with. So Coach O connected me with a guy named Justin Serres, which was the lead assistant coach at the university at the time. And believe it or not, before I started as a talent acquisition coach, I started off as a video coordinator. So recording games, breaking down film, putting up stuff on Synergy, which is the platform where they get data from for analytics. And from there on, I was doing really good. I was investing a lot of time, and that's when a coach gave me a bigger role, right? Okay. Go out and see if you can recruit some players. And the person I am, the way I attract real organic relationships, people are just buying into it, you know? And I was going around the country, talking anywhere from Ontario to Quebec to out west to go look for players. And one guy came in and just kept coming and coming, from all Canadians to big time pros. So talent acquisition is something that I got on later on in my coaching career, but something where coach trusted me and put me in the field and told me, get your feet dirty, start building organic relationships, and skyrocketed from there. Yeah,
I mean, when I first met you, it was like, it's like we knew each other for a while. Like, so you kind of have that personality to engage people on a genuine level, on a, as you said, on an organic level. It's not like forced, even though it's mutually beneficial for the player and yourself and the school. But so over a decade on the sidelines, you clearly saw that you had talent. So I think, was that kind of the impetus? Was that kind of the motivation to kind of branch out on your own eventually?
Yeah, I mean, throughout my 10 years coaching on the sidelines at the University of Ottawa, we will play Division I schools every summer, right? And we would play anywhere from 3 to 7 schools, and I made sure that I try to get in contact with at least one assistant coach, one grad assistant, one head coach, you know, and just build relationships,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And next thing you know, 5 years down the line, I got 50 contacts. 10 years down the line, I have 100 contacts on my phone, you know? And things really start to blow up when we played the University of Oregon a few years back.
Right.
It was a close game. We ended up losing by, I think, a single basket. Coach Dean Ahmed, which is a legendary coach in college basketball, he approached me and said, hey, listen, I don't know what you guys are doing down here, but you guys are doing great. Let's stay connected, you know? And I stayed connected with them, and the assistant coach, Michael Menega, as well. And from there on, it's like, that's when I realized, okay, these coaches, they see that the grind is paying it off.
Right.
Now it's let me reach out to them and ask them, what do they need? You know, do they need some talent? And that's when coach is like, listen, any guys that you have, present them to me, and
we'll see
what we can do.
Right.
And sent him 2 profiles. He loved both profiles, but he actually liked one of our guys at the University of Ottawa, but he was graduating, right? So he didn't have any clock left in his eligibility. So I explained that to him, and he's like, okay, anything that you have, let me know. Just let's stay persistent on it, you know? And presented him a guy, worked out. The kid didn't end up going to school because academic reasons.
Right.
And then that's when I said, okay, it's time to really shake things up and send one guy to a big school in the ACC, and send another guy to the Big 12, and another guy to the Big 12, and then I'm like, okay, we're getting traction now, right? Okay. So
that's kind of how you got your feet wet, or your feet dirty, and then you just kind of organically built your relationships. Now, you've been in this game long enough to see players come from, grassroots, prep, U Sport, NCAA, pro. What do all these players have in common? Because I know you have the eye for talent, but what specifically are you looking for? Because clearly you have skills in what you do, and that's why you're at the position where you're at. But what do these players have in common, if anything?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I do notice, especially the guys that play elite level basketball, is how they take their days, how they attack their days. The guys that usually make it out to the longest way or extended amount of years of playing basketball in their careers are the ones that treat it like a regular job, you know what I mean? Right. Showing up on time. Right? Doing the extracurricular activities and taking care of their bodies, what they eat, what they consume, and all that stuff. How they do post-game recoveries, and those are the guys that tend to really thrive in this industry of the game of basketball, right? So taking those daily habits of treating basketball like a job, right? And then from there on, it's that's where things start to skyrocket for those individuals, right? Whether that's in game film or in stats, they show that they belong where they're at.
Now, if there's a player that has the skill but is lacking some of those things you just described, will you kind of jump in and suggest, hey, I see a lot of talent in you. Maybe you want to clean up this part of your social media, or maybe you want to clean up some, these habits that are kind of a little bit, that might detract from your skill. Do you work with athletes like that too as well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, branding is the number one thing nowadays, right? A lot of these coaches in the US or even abroad, the first thing that they look at is just how do you post your how do you
present yourself
as an athlete, right? And some guys, I know they can be camera shy. Some guys can be, some guys can be, camera shy. That's the main thing. But what I try to do is, once I build that organic relationship, I try to show them that, hey, listen, we gotta also focus on these different areas and expertise. Right? So the guys that I've worked with in the past, some guys don't like having a cell phone on them, and I keep trying to tell them that, listen, brand deals and schools and fan bases want to see you on socials, right? So you have to be able to present yourself and market yourself. Right.
So you become basically a brand. Yeah. So I didn't want to get too much in the weeds in terms of NIL, but could you basically describe what name, image, and likeness is? Because there's a lot of people that they hear about it, they have an idea, but if you were to, let's say, pretend I had some basketball skills, and I'm like, listen, I need some guidance, some representation, and now this school is saying, yo, we can give you this NIL deal. And then I take it to my high school coach, or I take it to my, you know, someone in my family, and they're guessing. How would you break down name, image, and likeness, NIL? In Murks' terms.
In Murks' terms. Well, the thing is with NIL specifically is it's long overdue. You know what I mean? A lot of college athletes that played in the early 2000s and the 90s, March Madness has always been big, right? So March Madness alone was generating billions and billions and billions of dollars. So athletes being compensated is something I'm always going to be for. And nowadays, it's like understanding that there's a lot of people in the industry that don't have your best interest, right? They're just trying to come in and just take a quick buck from a kid, and understanding that you got to do your homework and your due diligence before you go out and seek for guidance, right?
Right.
So what I try to tell kids nowadays, even if it's not, I'm not representing you, is that like, ask me for a second set of, like, I can be your second set of eyes, your third set of eyes, right? Giving you feedback on contracts and roles and expectations and the whole 9 yards, right? But in this space as an agent, I try to tell guys that, like, keep your circle very tight. That's the number one thing. You know what I mean? Because the moment information gets leaked out, that moment things can go south for you, right? So when a coach is giving you information on, okay, this is your role, this is your responsibilities as an athlete coming to my institution, and this is the salary expectations that you're going to receive as an athlete, keep that information tight, just so your family should know, your agent should know, and then maybe your girlfriend or something, right? Right? So I've been in the space for roughly 24 months now, moved on from coaching on the sidelines, and I learn something every day, right? And as a young agent, I'm being a sponge. I'm connecting with a lot of high-level executives, and they tell me the same thing. It's like relationships matter more than anything,
right?
You know.
And so, again, you've been in this space for a short period of time, but you've been in the basketball space for years. So you've been in the space long enough to see kids fall victim to the system.
Yeah.
In your opinion, like, what is the kind of environment, like what's the ecosystem, like where are kids falling victim and falling prey to coaches, you know, prep schools, you know, parents, because sometimes the parents are, you know, the ones that are, you know, derailing the child's potential. Like, can you get into some of the, you know, the pitfalls that a skilled athlete may face once they start leveling up from just grassroots basketballs to maybe to prep and maybe to U Sport? Pitfalls, Murks version.
I mean, where I'm seeing a lot of like kids being manipulated or taken advantage of, it's at the grassroots level, right? So a lot of guys that are in high school going to preparatory, so grade 9, between grade 9 and grade 12, their prep years, their AAU years as well, where a lot of coaches want to have control of players, right? And that's when I realized when things are not good for the athlete and their families, right? Some coaches, like those coaches, I've sent hundreds and hundreds of guys Division I, and hundreds and hundreds of guys in junior college or U Sports. Those are the guys that you should rely on, right? Because they have a proven track record of helping guys get to where they want to get to. But that one individual that's just trying to get into the space and doesn't have real relationships with coaches in the US or in Canada, and that's just coming in and just wants to place you at a place because he thinks you're a high-level athlete, sometimes I think that's not the best situation for families, right? And
so how do families and players protect themselves against the, you know, I say that there's sharks and saints at every level. How do they protect themselves from the sharks?
I mean, it goes back to doing your homework, right? The moment that you go out to these AU tournaments and you have people approaching you, take their information down, you know? Build an organic relationship with them and see their history, their resumes, right? And then from there on, you can make the judgment and be like, okay, this guy's the right individual that I can work with, or this individual I got to stay away from, right? And especially at the grassroots level, it's like, you're going out to all these showcases. You're playing more than you're practicing, right?
Right.
So you got XYZ coming out to you and saying, hey, I'm so-and-so. I work with this agency, or I work with this guy, and I'm connected to this guy. Mm-hmm. But how are they going to prove that, right?
So because kids, athletes, young athletes, they don't know much. They don't have a Murks in their back pocket. Mm-hmm. And so they're kind of like looking around to see the first person that says, I can help you. And usually sometimes it's a person that can hurt you. Mm-hmm. I just want to touch on the word promise. Mm-hmm. A lot of coaches make promises, especially at the grassroots level. It's really hard for a kid that has aspirations and big dreams and then hears a promise and just jumps on it, because they're so vulnerable and so willing to want to get to that level, or want to get to that specific school, or want to get that bag. Like what can they do? Like who can they call? Like what resources are out there in order to do better research? Like when you say research, like what does that look like?
Mm-hmm. I mean, going back to connecting and having a small circle, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You always gotta have somebody in your circle that's willing to do a little bit of digging, right?
Right.
Connecting with people, getting answers for you, mm-hmm. and then relaying that information back to you, right?
Right.
So in this day and age, what I try to do is I can't help out a million people, right? But I got handlers. Those are people that are usually attached to the player, right. Or parents reaching out to me, and I try to give them information without the kid knowing mm-hmm. it's directly coming from me, right? I try to tell families that like promises are going to happen. Coaches mm-hmm. are going to try to sell you the entire world, mm-hmm. right? But understanding that whoever communicates with you on a regular basis, mm-hmm. right? Those are the people that really, really care about you, mm-hmm. right? Some kids nowadays that go out to like AAU tournaments and all that stuff, and they get an offer that one weekend, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. That coach probably offers and tells them the world during that trip, right?
Right.
You're gonna be my starting point guard, or you're gonna be my starting foreman, mm-hmm. and I'm gonna play you 35 minutes a game, mm-hmm. and I'm gonna give you X amount of dollars in NIL. I want you to be my guy. And then 2 weeks later, the communication drops, right? So understanding that like there's going to be highs and lows. It's all about a wave, right? It's all about the wave and that moment and where you're playing and how you're playing. So take promises with a grain of salt,
right?
You know?
Right. And
once you do that and you understand that your craft matters more than anything, that's when you can really, really use that to your leverage, right? Mm-hmm. The coaches that stay persistent and start communicating with you on a regular daily basis, mm-hmm. or on a weekly basis, those are the guys that care about you,
right.
And those are the guys that are going to recruit you to get to their institutions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those ones, it can be a bumpy ride. The first year you might be a redshirt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Second year you might be playing 15 minutes a game,
mm-hmm.
but as you grow as an athlete, you got to understand that you got to do your part of the bargain, right? So,
and now NCAA has become literally a business.
Yeah.
So, and now it's very easy for coaches to recruit over you, cut you in some cases. Have you seen that fall victim to some of the players that maybe not, you don't represent, but like that you've heard of, that they kind of took it for granted and then they got recruited over or bumped out or pushed out? The transfer portal has been this huge monster, mm-hmm. where it's hurting and helping athletes. What's your view on the transfer portal?
I mean, when it comes to the transfer portal, it can either be the biggest blessing on earth, mm-hmm. or the most horrific story you will ever see, right? From what I've seen the last few years, guys that usually enter the portal coming in from Canada, they usually level up, right? Because mm-hmm. they've shown that wherever they went to, they produce, whether that's on a box score or on film, right? Showing that they can be a pest on defense, or they could shoot the lights out of the basketball.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that usually end up going to good places. Mm-hmm. But I've seen horror stories as well, right? Guys are just jumping into the portal because they're just chasing that price tag, right?
Right.
And nowadays it's like it comes down to like fit over money. You know what I mean?
Right.
going to go somewhere where you're wanted and not where you want to go. Right? If a coach tells you, listen, I got a plan, 12 months, 24 months, I just need to buy in and follow this blueprint. Have your ears wide open and listen, right? Don't just go on and try to bargain and try to get the best money possible for you, right? And it comes down to having the right representation around you and the right circle of people around you, right? If you have someone that understands the game, understands roles, understands defense and coverages and offensive playmaking and all that stuff, and that person has the best interest for you, then go out with that person, go let that guy be your rep, and then from there on, navigate the portal together. And you see nowadays as well a lot where people are making deals before the portal happens, and that's just agents reaching out to general managers, high-level executives, head coaches, assistant coaches, GAs, grad assistants, and a lot of these agents are doing their due diligence and asking those people for feedback. What do you think of so-and-so? What do you think his strengths are? Because from there on, you have a third-party coach that's giving you real life feedback, right?
And so because we're in Canada, and we're always like the little brother for the States, but it's slowly changing, in my opinion.
I agree.
In terms of the talent drain, like, because I know youth sport coaches don't want to see their main people go across the border. So what's your opinion? I know you're kind of on both sides. You want players to level up, but you also want players to be in the right situation. There's people who think that Murks is just taking players and bringing them and depleting our team. Like, how is navigating that thin line of you want to represent the player and do what's best for the player, and you also want to do what's best for the program they may go to and the program that they're coming from? Like, you're in a kind of weird spot. How do you navigate that?
The way I navigate that is throughout the 10 years that I've coached, I've built real organic relationships with a lot of coaches in youth sports, whether it's RSEQ, AUS, Canada West, OUA. So a lot of coaches that I met throughout those years, I still know this to this day, right? And when a kid reaches out to me and says, hey, I want to explore going down south, the first thing I do is I communicate with their coach, whether it's an assistant or a head coach. And I let the coach know, hey, so-and-so has reached out to me. He's exploring options. I just want to keep you in the loop so that way you're not blindsided, right? And a lot of these coaches nowadays, because they get a heads up early, they understand the landscape has changed. They have to accept what's going on, right? But a lot of coaches, obviously they get upset because now it's like, I've planned my program around that individual, right? So I try to build a plan where, like, maybe it's a pull and replace. We pull somebody out of your program, we send them Division I, they get some NIL, hopefully they can do a kickback towards the program, that can help out with some scholarships, and then maybe we can replace and put in somebody into that role, right? And that's what coaches nowadays are really, really intrigued about, You know how the landscape is in Canada, where not all 12 guys get full rides, right? Or full scholarships. With that kickback coming in from NIL, maybe that can help them out with planning and recruitment, right? So I try to keep it as organic as possible with these coaches and be transparent.
So Ottawa is your base. This is where your parents still live. And you've been in the Ottawa space for a minute. What would you, and you've seen all levels from pro, with the Blackjacks, you've seen grassroots with all the minor clubs, you've seen the prep. What would you like to see improve? Or what's your kind of overall assessment on the Ottawa market?
I mean, the Ottawa market, it's not the same as the GTA or the Quebec side things, right?
And when you say not the same,
what I mean by that is in those areas, there's a lot of division, right?
Okay.
Some people are either on the Adidas side of things. Some people are either on the Nike side of things or the Under Armour side of things.
Right.
And those are usually the AAU teams or circuit teams, right?
Right.
Ottawa's still a small city where a lot of people are still connected. There's a lot of unity out here, right? The one thing I do want to see more is less control.
Right.
Let guys just be themselves, coaches having control on and ownership of players. I don't think that sits right with me, and then it doesn't sit right with a lot of people that I communicate with on a daily basis. And so division, I don't want to see the city divide up in 4 different catchments.
Right.
If we can stay together and whether that's East End, West End, South End, we all stay connected. Coaches, programs as well. I mean, it starts with the 2 big universities out here, right? There's been a rivalry between those 2 programs for decades now, and if those 2 programs can just figure out, hey, we're competitors, but we can also be friends outside of basketball. I think that's when things will move the right direction. That's what's happened with the Blackjacks, right?
So is it more of a top-down system?
It's a top-down system.
Right, so it's not bottom-up.
No, that's not bottom-up.
Because I know at the bottom there's some unity there.
Yeah.
But at the top, maybe it's not it's more fragmented.
Yeah.
So is that kind of where you see things?
It's got to start from the top level, whether that's head coaches from the university programs, whether that's ex-alumni, like alumni that went to these schools, but now you see it more where like the Johnny B's are close to the Phil Scrubs and the Tommy Scrubs, right? And that's because that connection that they had through the CEBL, right? Or at the pro level, because wherever you're gonna go, there's a high chance where that player probably played there in the past, and you're asking for feedback on who's this coach and how's this club team and how's payroll, and you ask those questions, and you got to stay connected at the high level, all right? So
gotcha. Murks, it's been a pleasure, man.
Appreciate you having me, man.
That's awesome, man. Thank you for being the first guest on the Helpside Basketball Show. We're gonna be doing this a lot. We're gonna be chopping it up with special people like yourself to give back and give advice to a lot of people that are desperately looking for it. And we want to actually be the help side. Like you get blown by. Yeah. We out here.
We out here. Got your back.
We got your back, man. Yeah. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it, man.
Okay.